Welcome back to Midwest Magnum. I'm Wes.
And I'm Kurt.
And today we are going to do the comparison between the new CANIK Prime, the Beretta BP9C, the Springfield Hellcat, and the Ruger 9 Max.
We have had some people ask us what they consider a good concealed carry. If you've seen our last video, the Prime, you kind of already know the answer, I think. But we wanted to compare a couple other of the more commonly affordable and accessible concealed carries for smaller framed individuals. So,
and this isn't necessarily an apples to apples comparison because they're all a little bit different sizes. Some are smaller. The Prime's a little bit larger.
Yep.
But it's just four common carry guns that we're comparing to.
Close enough that we decided to use these four. Yeah. So, all right, you ready to get into it?
Let's do some shooting.
All right.
Here are some basic quick takeaways. The Ruger Max 9 is slim and lightweight with solid capacity for its size. Great optic-ready budget option, but very snappy and poor trigger control. The Beretta BP9C is the thinnest of the bunch, comfortable to carry, but lowest capacity and slightly dated ergonomics. The Springfield Hellcat AOH's the smallest footprint overall, especially height-wise, with excellent capacity for its size and is designed for deep concealment. Although it has a great trigger, it remains snappy for those with larger hands. And finally, the CANIK METE MC9 Prime, which is slightly larger and heavier, but has outstanding capacity and smooth ergonomics. It is a more feature-rich option for the price point.
All right, we're going to start out with the Ruger 9 Max. Give it a whirl. First impression, it's definitely pretty snappy. I mean, a small frame. Not big fan of the trigger at this point. Pretty small for my hand, but it's not horrible.
Yeah, this is way too small for me. The thing I don't like, this trigger is so, lack of a better term, awful, that I'm moving the gun a ton.
Now we got the Beretta BP9. Yeah, I like the grip a little better than the 9 Max. It's not horrible. I mean, it's a little snappy, but not bad. Triggers, and a little better. It's definitely better than 9 Max trigger.
That is so snappy. Hurts my finger to shoot it almost. Ooh, not bad. Much better than the Max. Do like the grip better, although it's pretty smooth. Trigger is, you know, not a bad carry. Not one I would probably use.
All right, now for the Springfield Hellcat. Not the Pro, the Micro.
Do I have to?
Yep. Please tell me your thoughts.
I don't think you want to hear them. It's just too small for me, man. It's just like the Max 9. Super snappy, too small. Trigger's not bad. At least my misses this time are from the size and me, not the trigger like the Max. Just a really hard gun to handle when it's the size of your hand.
All right, now we're up to the CANIK MC9 Prime. Definitely my preferred. I like the trigger, I like the grip. I like the fact it's a little bit larger for my mitts.
Night and day difference. This one feels better. Obviously it's a better size, but everything about it, prime.
All right, we finished our range day. Put some rounds through everything and took a little pause. And then now
had a little bit of rain.
A little bit of rain. Everything got a little wet, but we took a 10-minute break and now we're good. So
we're back.
Let's get it going.
What do you want to start with first?
Ruger
Okay.
Beretta Springfield Prime.
All right. Ruger 9 Max. As you can see, it's empty. Very small gun. We might as well just go down the features of it. Ergonomically, what'd you think?
So definitely small. Grip, small. I think I mentioned that earlier. It's just was small in my hands. I mean, it's just to be expected with a smaller carry gun. Wasn't horrible, except for probably I would put this trigger the worst out of all of them. Simple, and that made a huge problem.
What the heck's going on up here, man?
The tree's pissing on you. Yeah, so the trigger I'd say is probably worst out of all of them, which made the grip even worse. It's very snappy. Kind of had to re-grip every time.
That was the most frustrating thing for me, is I felt like I had to re-grip every time because the trigger was so tough with such a small gun that you're dead on and you're saying, why am I missing this? And then you realize, you look at the footage, when you're pulling the trigger, the gun is just, you don't have enough real estate to grab onto and hold it.
And it's so long. The trigger is so long, it tends to, like, it's hard to not move the gun while you're doing it.
So there's a ton of movement in that gun, unless you've got smaller hands. For a small-handed person, it might not be too bad. You know, the trigger's not going to change. It's still going to be way too much play. So, you know, but outside
we need to get
of that,
somebody with little hands for some of these opinions.
It's a good idea. But yeah, I mean, overall, I was so excited for the Ruger 9 when I got it. So excited. And first time out, I wasn't too sure about it. Then we shot it a couple more times, and it's one of those guns that you hope grows on you, but it actually grows in the opposite direction. It's just you don't like it less and less.
And I mean, as far as accuracy was pretty good. As far as the gun goes, if you can manage your grip and everything. I mean, if I concentrated re-grip between every round, then I was still hitting. But
and it's got decent sights, so the sights are good. Got the fiber optic sight, so it's not bad. It comes optic ready. You can see we took the optic off because it was so bad. But overall, I would pass on the 9. Again, if you can get out and shoot it and try it, you might like it, but I'd probably pass on the 9.
Yeah, personally, that's out of these 4, I'd probably put that number 4.
Yeah. Next, we've got the Beretta BP9C. As you can see, empty.
Clear. Well, you start that one, I'll show these other ones are clear.
The Beretta, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, it wasn't bad. So when we shot this independently, it was a decent gun. It felt that much better after shooting the Ruger. So I don't know if we were a little like influenced. Yeah. the thing I can tell you right off the bat I don't like about the Bersa is how smooth and slippery the grip is. You've only got your traction in these two little tiny pads. The rest of it is butter smooth. If you are sweating or in the rain, you're going to have grip issues with this gun.
Definitely.
So
I agree with that. Very smooth, narrow, which the grip was better than the 9 Max.
Yeah.
Trigger, I don't know if I'm jumping in or
No,
interrupting.
hell,
but
go for it.
Trigger was better than the Max, but it was still...
It was long.
Yeah, it was still a long trigger pull.
Not as heavy, but,
yeah,
you know.
not quite as snappy. I mean, it still was, of course. With anything this size, you're going to get that, but not quite as snappy. But the trigger was definitely long.
It has
a little better.
Decent sights. Not the best, but decent. Trigger was better. Overall, it was better. The thing I don't like about the Bersa is it holds 8 rounds.
Yes, I agree.
Don't like that. Where the rest of these guns, upwards of, what, 13 to 17?
Yeah, the Hellcat, you can get a 13 or a 15 round mag.
Same
Prime
with the
17.
Ruger.
So.
Yeah, so, you know, that's a downside too. But overall, one thing to mention, the Ruger does have a manual safety. The Bersa does not. So, in fact, the Ruger is the only one here that has a manual safety. So, that being said, I mean, the Bersa's decent. If you're looking for a budget concealed carry, it wouldn't be awful.
No, I don't think it's a bad carry gun.
Not that we're promoting the purchase of handguns or the sale of handguns. We're just giving you our review.
Yep, just our opinion.
Yep.
Kurt's favorite, Springfield Hellcat.
And I'm a Springfield fan. I love my XDM. Love it.
Yeah.
The Hellcat it's a lot like the Ruger.
Yeah, it's pretty small. So
yeah.
It makes sense that you're not the biggest fan. I mean, even for my hands, you know, it's still pretty small. Same thing with the Ruger. You got to just, you know, kind of got to make sure you got a good grip between rounds. Triggers, I'd say out of the 3 so far, this was the best trigger so far.
Yep, absolutely.
Sights, I don't mind the U sights, if you can see.
Yeah,
you got to get used to them.
Probably, if you get used to them, these are probably the best sights so far also. So, yeah. Even though I'm not a huge Hellcat fan, it's the same reason I don't like the Ruger. It's snappy, it's small, there's a ton of movement, less movement in the Hellcat because the trigger is better.
Yes.
So
trigger's better. I always carry with 15 round, which gives you the little bit extra for your hand.
Yeah.
So that always helps. But yeah, overall, I'd say this out of the 3 so far, I'd take probably the Hellcat Bersa than Max.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do like the trigger better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I might have a different 3. We'll see at the end. But now for the obvious winner, we don't even know you need to go into it, but we will in case you didn't see our previous Prime video. The CANIK Prime, definitely cleared. This, I said it in the last video, it's a very narrow gun.
Not very. I mean, it's
comparable.
Compared to the other full-size CANIKs, it's more narrow, but...
I'm not a huge fan, though, of the sights, but they work. That's the thing. I have bad eyes. I tend to need more exaggerated sights. These work, which was surprising for me, because that first thing I looked at that, I'm like, those aren't going to work, but they did. But it's to me, it's a thinner profile. And when I first grabbed it, I thought, uh-oh. Once you start shooting it, you don't feel that at all. It feels like a normal gun.
And at first, you kept talking about the thinner profile. I just kind of thought you were crazy, to be honest. Like, I'm like, man, it doesn't, like, it feels a little different than the other ones, but it is. Like, you can definitely tell it's thinner, which is nice. They still use the same mags.
Yep.
But it is thinner, but you still get a good grip. I mean, the texture on there just bites right down into your hand. I mean, as long as you got a nice firm grip, no issue. I could see if you were kind of real lightly holding it, it would maybe tear up your hand a little bit.
It?
Yeah, basically. Trigger's better, hands down. Little bit longer travel to begin with than I like. I've gone over that numerous times, but but you don't even, once you start shooting, you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
With the port, definitely less recoil than the other ones.
But louder.
Yeah, I didn't.
Not significantly.
And today
louder,
I didn't even really notice the difference. Before I did, but today I didn't really notice much difference. Obviously it's different, but I'm just saying it didn't stand out to me.
It could have been the noise of all your groupies watching.
That's we always have that problem. All the fans.
What I would say about this CANIK is when I first held it, it was, you know, significantly smaller than the other CANIKs we've had. I thought, okay, this isn't going to be like the normal CANIK. Once we started shooting it, I felt like I was shooting just any other CANIK. It felt the same. It's much lighter than most of the other CANIKs we have. So it's super light, and the trigger is fantastic. Again, it's got a lot of play in the trigger, but for a concealed carry, that's not bad. And then your reset is awesome. It's right there.
It is.
So
right.
Even though you have a ton of play, your reset is
and once you hit
super
that wall,
refined.
it's crisp.
Yeah.
Nice reset, and then you're right there.
Yeah, because some of these others, even when you hit the wall, you had a little play before it would even break, and you're like, what the hell? Especially the Ruger. But the CANIK is just another amazing gun. If you haven't seen our previous video of it, take a look. If you're looking to get a conceal carry and you're looking for a smaller gun but not super small and very reliable, we've yet to have a malfunction on that. Am I boring you?
Yes, you're very boring. No, it's been a long day.
Yeah, no, it has. Very long day, but
all right, so rate them.
All right. My thought on these, final review, I would go number 4, the Ruger Max. Number 3, the Springfield Hellcat. Almost tied with the Beretta at number 2. So if I could make a tie, those would be tied for 2 and 3, but I can't. So I'm going to go Beretta number 2, Prime number 1.
Yeah, but you do like the Prime better than the Hellcat.
Yeah.
But
I like the Prime better than most of the handguns I have.
Or did I say Prime? I meant the Beretta better than, I don't know what I said.
Mosquitoes.
Anyways,
yeah, I do. You're saying I like the Beretta better than the Hellcat,
right?
And yes,
yeah,
that's not by much though, not by much, because the Hellcat trigger is a good trigger, where the Beretta trigger is. All
right.
So,
yeah, I'm pretty close to that. I'd put the 9 Max at number 4. I'd put the Beretta at number 3, like I already mentioned. Hellcat at number 2, and the Prime at number 1.
Even though these are small, if you train enough with any of these, you can learn how to shoot them and shoot them well.
Yeah. Always train with what you're going to carry.
Yeah.
So that's our rating of the 4, and each special in their own way.
Yep.
Just like all of our viewers.
Did I tell you I became a grandpa this weekend?
No, you didn't.
That's
scary.
Pretty scary that I'm a grandpa.
Yeah.
Josephine Marie, 7 pounds, 4 ounces, 20 inches. So
nice. Well, congratulations.
So thank you. As soon as she's old enough, we're going to get her out on the range.
Absolutely. Train them young.
Yep.
That's what I did.
Thanks for watching our video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the alerts so that you don't miss any of our future videos. And by the way, that logo right there, you can click that to subscribe. So show us how good your aim is. That logo right there, that one. Go ahead, click it.